Imagine being thousands of feet in the air when 3 passengers suddenly face medical emergencies. What happens next will shock you. During this flight, I witnessed 3 serious medical emergencies that turned a normal journey into a tense and unforgettable experience. With limited medical resources, panicked passengers, and no immediate access to a hospital, every second mattered. This video shares what really happened in the air, how the situations were handled, and the important lessons every traveler should know. Medical emergencies can happen anytime, anywhere, even at 35,000 feet. If you travel frequently or care about health and safety, this video is a must-watch. See Part 1 Rupture, Brutal State of the End to understand how these emergencies were managed and what you can learn from this. Imagine being thousands of feet above the ground, surrounded by strangers when a routine flight suddenly turns into a series of medical emergencies. What started as a normal journey quickly became one of the most intense and unforgettable experiences of my life. In this video, I share what happened when 3 different medical emergencies occurred on my flight, all within a short span of time. This was not a movie scene. This was real life, real people, real fear, and real consequences. At 35,000 feet in the air, there are no hospitals, no ambulances, and no easy exits. Every decision matters, every second counts, and every reaction can make a difference between life and death. The first medical emergency. Shortly after takeoff, a passenger began showing signs of severe discomfort. What initially seemed like fatigue quickly escalated into a serious medical situation. The cabin crew rushed into action, trying to assess the problem while calming nearby passengers. In moments like these, panic spreads fast. But professionalism and quick thinking are crucial. The flight attendants followed emergency protocols, made announcements asking for medical professionals on board, and provided first aid with the limited equipment available. This incident alone was enough to make the entire cabin tense, but no one knew that this was only the beginning. The second emergency changed everything. As the situation seemed to stabilize, another passenger suddenly collapsed. This time the seriousness was immediately clear. Passengers were shocked, some stood up in fear, and others began praying quietly. The atmosphere inside the aircraft completely changed. With 2 medical emergencies happening on the same flight, the pressure increased dramatically. The crew had to divide their attention, communicate with the cockpit, and possibly consider an emergency landing. These are decisions no one wants to make, but sometimes they are unavoidable. This moment highlighted how unpredictable life can be. 1 minute, people were watching movies or sleeping, and the next minute, the entire cabin was united by fear and concern for a stranger's life. The third emergency, a test of human strength. Just when everyone thought things couldn't get worse, a third medical emergency occurred. At this point, emotional exhaustion was visible everywhere. Passengers were silent, alert, and deeply concerned. The crew, despite being under immense pressure, continued to work with calm determination. This third incident truly tested the limits of what could be managed mid-air. It also revealed the importance of teamwork, preparedness, and compassion. Strangers supported each other, offered help, and showed incredible humanity during a very difficult time. What these emergencies taught me. This experience taught me powerful lessons about travel, health, and life itself. Medical emergencies do not come with warnings. They can happen to anyone, anywhere, even while flying. It also showed how essential it is to take health seriously, especially before traveling. Many people ignore symptoms, skip medical checkups, or underestimate minor health issues. But when you are in the air, even a small problem can become a major emergency. This video is not meant to scare you. It is meant to inform and prepare you why this video matters. If you are someone who travels often, this video is especially important for you. Seeing as passant rupture brutal and knowing how medical emergencies are, understanding the limitations, and being aware of your own health can make a huge difference. This story is also a reminder to appreciate life and the people around us. In moments of crisis, titles, backgrounds, and differences disappear. Only humanity remains. Watching passengers come together during these emergencies was both heartbreaking and inspiring. Be prepared, be aware. Air travel is generally very safe, but medical emergencies are more common than people realize. Staying hydrated, managing stress, taking prescribed medications, and informing airlines about existing medical conditions are simple steps that can help prevent serious situations. This video encourages awareness, responsibility, and empathy. You never know when you might be the one needing help or the one who can help someone else. Final thoughts. What happened on this flight will stay with me forever. It changed the way I look at travel, health, and human connection. These 3 medical emergencies were a reminder that life is fragile, time is precious, and preparedness matters. Watch this video till the end to understand how the situations were handled and what lessons you can take from this real-life experience. Imagine boarding a flight expecting nothing more than a quiet journey, a window seat, and a few hours of rest. Now imagine that same flight turning into a high-stress situation where not 1, not 2, but 3 medical emergencies unfold in the air. This video is about that exact experience, an ordinary flight that became a powerful reminder of how fragile life can be, especially at 35,000 feet. From the moment the plane took off, everything felt normal. Passengers settled into their seats, the cabin lights dimmed, and the hum of the engines created a sense of routine. No one could have predicted what was about to happen. Medical emergencies are rare, but when they occur mid-flight, they test not only the crew's training, but also the patient's empathy and awareness of everyone on board. The first emergency, a sudden wake-up call. The first incident began quietly. A passenger a few rows away appeared uncomfortable, shifting in their seat and breathing heavily. At first, it seemed like anxiety or motion sickness, common issues during flights. But within minutes, the situation worsened. The passenger showed clear signs of distress, and the cabin crew immediately stepped in. Flight attendants acted quickly, following standard safety protocols. They spoke calmly, assessed the passenger's condition, and made an announcement asking if any medical professionals were on board. The cabin grew silent. People stopped watching their screens and began paying attention. Fear and concern spread through the air faster than the plane itself. Thankfully, the situation was temporarily stabilized. But that sense of relief didn't last long. The second emergency, panic at cruising altitude. Not long after the first emergency, another passenger collapsed suddenly. This time there was no slow build-up, just instant shock. Gasps echoed through the cabin. Some passengers stood up, others froze, and a few looked away, unable to process what was happening. The crew now faced a much bigger challenge. Managing 1 medical emergency in the air is difficult. Managing 2 is overwhelming. The pilots were informed, ground medical support was contacted, and every available resource on board was used. The professionalism of the flight attendants during this moment was remarkable. Despite the pressure, they remained calm and focused. This emergency forced everyone on board to confront a difficult reality in the air. Help is limited, and time feels different. Every minute feels longer. Every decision feels heavier. The third emergency, a test of endurance. Just when it seemed impossible for things to escalate further, a third medical emergency occurred. By this point, the cabin was emotionally exhausted. Passengers were quiet, alert, and deeply uneasy. Silence passait en rupture brutale. Even those who had tried to ignore the earlier incidents could no longer look away. This third situation tested the endurance of the crew and the emotional strength of the passengers. Strangers supported one another. Some offered water, others gave up their seats, and many silently prayed. It was a powerful display of humanity during a moment of crisis. The crew worked non-stop, coordinating between passengers, pilots, and medical support on the ground. The responsibility they carried in that moment cannot be overstated. What this experience revealed, these 3 medical emergencies revealed how unpredictable life truly is. One moment, people were strangers sharing a flight. Silence passait en rupture brutale. The next, they were united by fear, concern, and empathy. It also highlighted the importance of preparation, both for airlines and for passengers. Many travelers underestimate their health before flying. Skipping medications, ignoring symptoms, dehydration, and stress can all contribute to serious problems at high altitude. This experience reinforced how vital it is to take personal health seriously, especially when traveling. Why this video is important. This video is not meant to frighten you. It is meant to educate, raise awareness, and encourage responsibility. Medical emergencies on flights are more common than most people realize. Knowing what to expect, how to react, fast pass on rupture bruta, and how to take care of your health can make a real difference. If you travel often, this story could change how you prepare for flights. If you don't, it may still change how you think about health and emergencies in general. A reminder of humanity. One of the most powerful aspects of this experience was witnessing how people came together. In moments of crisis, differences disappear. Age, nationality, background, none of it mattered. What mattered was compassion, patience, and the willingness to help. This flight became a reminder that even in stressful, frightening situations, humanity still shines through. Final thoughts. This journey will stay with me forever. 3 medical emergencies on one flight changed the atmosphere, tested everyone involved, and left lasting lessons about health, preparedness, and empathy. Life can change in an instant, and being aware can truly save lives. Brutal. Watch this video till the end to understand how these emergencies were handled and what lessons you can take from this real-life experience. Imagine boarding a flight with nothing on your mind except reaching your destination. You fasten your seatbelt, put your phone on airplane mode, and settle in like you've done many times before. Everything feels normal, familiar, safe. Now imagine that same flight slowly turning into a scene filled with tension, fear, and uncertainty where not 1, not 2, but 3 medical emergencies unfold in mid-air. This video is not exaggerated. It's not scripted. It's not meant for shock value alone. It's a real experience that changed the way I look at travel, health, and human connection. At 35,000 feet above the ground, there are no hospitals, no ambulances, and no easy solutions. When something goes wrong in the air, everyone on board becomes part of the situation, whether they want to or not. A normal beginning. The flight started like any other. Passengers boarded calmly, overhead bins slammed shut, and the safety announcement played in the background. Some people were traveling for work, some for vacation, and others to reunite with loved ones. The cabin was filled with quiet conversations, soft laughter, and the glow of phone screens. Once the plane took off and reached cruising altitude, most passengers relaxed. Some slept, some watched movies, and some simply stared out the window. Nothing about the atmosphere suggested that this flight would soon become unforgettable for all the wrong reasons. The first medical emergency, subtle but serious. The first medical emergency didn't announce itself loudly. It began quietly. A passenger nearby appeared uncomfortable, restless movements, heavy breathing, and visible discomfort. At first glance, it looked like anxiety or motion sickness, something fairly common during flights. But within minutes, the situation escalated. The passenger's condition worsened, and concern spread quickly. A flight attendant noticed the change and immediately approached. Her calm voice contrasted sharply with the growing tension in the cabin. The crew followed their training, asking questions, assessing the situation, and providing basic assistance. Soon, Sinest pass wound rupture brutal. An announcement echoed through the cabin asking if there were any medical professionals on board. That single announcement changed the entire mood of the flight. Screens were paused. Conversations stopped. Fear replaced comfort. Thankfully, after some time and assistance, the situation appeared to stabilize. A collective sigh of relief filled the cabin. People returned to their seats, hoping the worst was over. They were wrong. The second medical emergency, sudden panic. Not long after the first incident, the second medical emergency struck, and this one was impossible to ignore. A passenger collapsed suddenly. There was no warning, no slow build-up. One moment everything was quiet, and the next moment panic took over. Gasps were heard throughout the cabin. Some passengers stood up instinctively, others froze in shock. A few looked away, overwhelmed by fear. The flight attendants rushed to the scene, their professionalism now tested under extreme pressure. With 2 medical emergencies on the same flight, the seriousness of the situation became undeniable. The crew contacted the cockpit, and communication with ground medical support began. Every decision now carried weight. Should the plane divert? Could both situations be managed on board? Time felt painfully slow. The cabin felt different now, tense, silent, heavy. No one cared about movies or meals anymore. Everyone was aware that lives might be at risk. The 3rd medical emergency, emotional exhaustion. Just when it seemed like the flight had reached its breaking point, a 3rd medical emergency occurred. By now, emotional exhaustion was visible everywhere. Séance pass on rupture. The passengers were quiet and deeply uneasy. Even those who had tried to distract themselves earlier could no longer ignore what was happening. The 3rd emergency was the most emotionally challenging, not because it was necessarily more severe, but because it came after so much stress. The crew had already been working non-stop. The passengers had already experienced fear twice. This time there was no shock, only deep concern and silent prayers. Seance strangers supported one another. Some offered water, others gave up their seats. A few simply held hands with loved ones. In that moment, the cabin became more than a group of passengers. It became a community. The crew calm under pressure. One of the most remarkable aspects of this experience was watching the flight attendants work. Despite the immense pressure, they remained calm, organized, séance passée rupture brutal, and compassionate. They balanced safety procedures, emotional support, and communication with incredible professionalism. Their training showed in every movement, séance passée rupture brutal, every word and every decision. They didn't panic, they didn't show fear. They focused on what needed to be done, moment by moment. This experience gave me a new level of respect for cabin crew members. They are not just there to serve food and drinks. Séance passée rupture brutal. They are trained to handle life and death situations in one of the most challenging environments imaginable. What this experience taught me about health. These 3 rupture, 3 medical emergencies forced me to reflect deeply on health and responsibility. Many people underestimate the importance of their health before traveling. Skip medications, ignore symptoms, dehydration, stress, and lack of sleep can all become serious issues at high altitude. When you're in the air, even minor problems can escalate quickly. The body reacts differently. Oxygen levels are lower, stress is higher, access to medical care is extremely limited. This experience was a powerful reminder that taking care of your health is not optional, it's essential, especially when traveling, why awareness matters. This video is not meant to scare you away from flying. Air travel is still one of the safest modes of transportation. However, awareness can save lives. Understanding that medical emergencies can happen anytime, anywhere prepares you mentally and emotionally. If you travel frequently, this story may change how you prepare for flights. If you don't travel often, it may still change how you think about health, emergencies, and empathy. Humanity at 35,000 feet. Perhaps the most unforgettable part of this experience was the humanity displayed on board. In moments of crisis, differences disappear. Nationality, language, background, none of it mattered. People who had never spoken before helped one another. Fear brought empathy. Stress brought unity. It was a reminder that even in the most uncomfortable and frightening situations, people are capable of incredible kindness. The emotional aftermath, long after the flight landed, the experience stayed with me. The tension, the silence, the feeling of helplessness, it all lingered. Séance passée rupture brutal. It changed the way I think about routine travel and everyday health. This was more than just a flight, it was a lesson, one I'll never forget. While I'm sharing this story, I'm sharing this experience not for drama, but for awareness. Séance passée rupture brutal. Stories like this matter because they remind us that life is unpredictable. They remind us to be prepared, to be kind, and to take health seriously. You never know when you might be the one needing help, or the one who can help someone else. Final thoughts. 3 medical emergencies on one flight transformed an ordinary journey into a powerful reminder of life's fragility. At 35,000 feet, every decision matters, every second counts, and every human connection becomes meaningful. Watch this video till the end to understand how these situations were handled and what lessons you can take from this real-life experience.